Can I at least do a read? You guys are like cross-blasting me across the room.
We'll get to it in a second.
Conversation.
I'm confused by something. We'll get to it in a
Get
second.
unconfused. The Town Fair Tire Studio. You always get the guarantees, the lowest prices on name brand tires from Connecticut to Maine. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody. Obviously, the Flores stuff is still the big story. But I would like to. It's a holiday today.
Is it?
I don't know if it's happy or merry, but it definitely has a positive twinge to it. Happy February 3rd. It is a big day. It is the day that Julius Randle can officially be dealt. Get him out.
He played okay last night.
No, he did. His plus-minus was -9,
You know what I mean?
They got waxed.
Okay, it wasn't -34.
By the way, so that does represent, hey, you know what? Extend him. He's getting better. John Morant, who is sick, and he didn't even play particularly well, shot 9 for 27, 33%. And they still blasted the Knicks.
That's right.
So
that's because Jaren Jackson Jr. was amazing from
Yes.
outside and really everywhere around the field. They just had so much. They're a fun team to watch. As much as I hated watching them do what they did to the Knicks, they're a fun team to watch.
They are fun. They don't take any craps from the veterans. Remember, they had a little flare up with LeBron last night. Randall got bounced for some dopey reason walking into the Grizzlies huddle. I have an opinion. We're going to get to the Flores stuff again because it's huge. But here's what I think is going to happen with Leon Rose, who really is. He's like the J.D. Salinger of owners of GMs, incredibly reticent to say a word. Like he's just a recluse.
Yeah,
and that's fine if things are going well. Anyway, I think here's what's going to happen with Leon Rose. We are going to, and I hear everybody now asking, like, why isn't Leon Rose speaking? Where is he? You and I have said this for a couple of weeks here on the film. Maybe others haven't. I missed it, to be fair. But we have been on this train since day one, since January 3rd, since we started. I think that out of nowhere, because there's no leaks, there's no real significant speculation with the Knicks. I think we're going to wake up one day, and there is going to be a monster trade. And I can't wait for that day that we will get to react to it.
So he's hiding, not hiding, but he's sitting,
plotting.
He's sitting and wait.
Plotting.
Yeah, he's plotting.
He's plotting.
Behind the scenes.
He is plotting. I believe something. But maybe, again, I'm not saying Randall was going to get dealt today. He just could get dealt today. And if he did, it would be pretty good.
That's just your hope.
That is my hope. But, it's over. I've given up on Randall because, quite frankly, he gave up on us. So that is what it is. Knicks lost again. Mets are having a rough go. Hoops is, the St. John's lost the other night. Hoops is depressing. Teak, let's get back to this angle, right? To me, this is amazing. So if I were to say to you, Teak, what is the biggest, somewhat recent, don't say like Black Sox, what is the biggest, most recent sporting scandal that you can conjure up? Like what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
First thing that jumps in my head is PEDs.
Okay. PED 4?
And baseball.
Okay.
And MLB.
Yeah. And there's been other track and field, et cetera.
It took the whole league. I mean, track and field, we kind of always assumed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, how are these guys so yoked when they run?
That's right.
Like Ben Johnson's jacked.
Jacked. And you've got a tricep that's the size of a left tackle.
Yeah, no, I would say that as well. And there's others too, point shaving, Tulane, Boston College with the mob up in Providence in, I don't know, I guess that was late 70s, early 80s. There's been other examples, right? The Tim Donaghy one with the NBA refereeing scandal, that is, I think that's kind of comparable.
True, but it felt isolated.
Yes.
Maybe it wasn't, but it felt isolated because Donaghy, who we had on the show a couple years ago.
I've actually talked to him a few times.
It felt like it was just him.
Yes, and they got out in front of it, and they were pretty assertive, and they denounced him, and he disappeared, and boom. So you are right. It's the PED scandal. But the thing about the PED scandal in baseball, while we all know that the owners were complicit, we were complicit on some level. We looked the other way. They certainly looked the other way. Attendance rose. TV ratings went up. Power numbers were driving interest. They were the lead. McGuire, Sosa, Bonds on SportsCenter, the lead. People, don't forget that. But while the owners were complicit and the commissioner, Bud Selig, who was absolutely complicit, they were not literally taking needle and inserting it into somebody's ass, okay? Which is why, if this is true, I'm getting back to this.
Yes.
With the Dolphins and the Browns and owners and, people of high standing in the organization, the highest standing, allegedly offering coaches monetary incentive to blow games. Teak, This would make the MLB PED scandal look like a little footnote when when the news of the Post has a retraction.
Yeah.
Like it's like 2 lines long.
Yes.
And then like that, it would make the PED baseball scandal seem almost immaterial.
Yeah. And
in
look,
my opinion.
Here's the reality of this. We know that sometimes teams, especially in, say, baseball, because we talked about this yesterday, baseball, where they trade off all of their talent, they want to get young. They don't want to have this inflated salary because they know their team is not going to compete in the postseason. Basketball, we see this, and we've talked to many coaches, and they tell us it's not really tanking. We're just getting young guys experience, and not like we're not trying to win. You know what I mean? We're just getting young guys in there who probably aren't going to win, but it's not really tanking. What makes this different, and this is the Steve Ross allegation leveled by Brian Flores in his expansive lawsuit. This could be expanding, by the way. That's what you're reading today. This class action suit alleging racist hiring practices in the NFL, but he really takes aim at Steve Ross at the very beginning of this lawsuit by saying 2 things. One, that was going to pay him $100,000 a loss to tank so that they could get a higher draft pick. That was in 2019, his first season. Mm-hmm. And they were bad that season.
They were terrible.
We know. We talked about it yesterday. They lost their first 7.
The first 3, I think it was the aggregate was 69-13 or 70,
yes.
Maybe even worse than that.
Yeah, you're right.
It was worse than that.
Yeah, it was 100 and something. I think.
Yeah,
I think it was 160-26 was the point differential in the first 4 games. So they were bad that season. But they ended up winning some games, including at the end. And Brian Flores, according to this lawsuit, was encouraged to lose those games at $100,000 per loss so they could get a higher draft pick, which was the Tua Tagovailoa draft. That one's damning, and he's also said he had him on a yacht and he was going to meet with Tom Brady or something like that. But the bigger one,
we think it's Brady.
We think it's Brady.
Sure.
It doesn't make sense with
Craig
Brady.
Was saying that.
It doesn't make sense with Brady. It doesn't make sense with Brady though.
Yeah, I hear you.
Because in the winter of 2020, Tom Brady
know.
was getting ready to win a championship for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So why are you recruiting him in the? I don't know.
All I know is Miami could have had Herbert, and none of this would matter.
That's exactly right.
He drafted the wrong kid.
But the biggest that fact that a team could be trying to lose by playing young guys, it is what it is. But to actively pay money to a coach to subvert the chances of winning is, I mean, I don't know if it gets any worse than that, BT.
No, because it challenges directly the absolute authenticity of the sport.
Yes.
It's not, there's no predetermined plot.
Yeah.
It's not like, okay, WrestleMania 3, Hulk, Andre's going to let you slam him.
Yeah.
And 93, although the attendance was a bit overrated, the 93,000, a bit inflated, I should say, the 93,000 people at Pontiac Silverdome will you to do it.
Yes.
Because Andre weighs 609 pounds, but Andre has consented. Here's the script. Here's how the match is going to go. It's predetermined. You will slam him, you will pin him, and we will go on from there.
Yeah.
This is not the WWF or the WWE.
Well, think about why it's important, because you know this, because it's gaming. I mean, you could be a sharp in my mind.
I mean, it could be.
You are a sharp Tierney.
And by the
way,
I'd be piss poor. As much as as much as we have a little fun, it is.
But here's
it's
the thing.
hard.
But okay, let's say that
I'm
you
not
were.
that egotistical.
But let's just say that you were a sharp.
Okay.
Right. And you're trying to set a line on a game, and you realize as the game is getting close, all right, that this vet's not going to play because he has a minor injury and he's questionable, likely to be inactive. So I'm going to get a young left tackle.
Sure.
Or I'm going to get a young quarterback.
It's a half a point, maybe more.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to get a young cornerback, whatever it may be.
Maybe work the over,
Right?
get some bombs downfield.
So what we were talking about earlier in the NBA, you got some young players playing. You can kind of set the line based on what you actually know. But imagine trying to set a line not knowing that a coach is intentionally throwing the game.
Or was there was incentive to.
Yes.
But he didn't do it.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, so, and I know that you know this. This has nothing to do with Flores. This is all on Ross. And I know that Ross put out a statement.
Denied it.
Everybody does.
Absolutely.
Yeah, of course. And you have to do that. And now there'll be the investigation that follows.
Yep.
But
his direct quote with regards to the allegations made by Brian Flores, I am a man of honor and integrity and cannot let them stand without responding. I take great personal exception to these malicious attacks, and the truth must be known.
Okay.
His allegations are false, malicious, and defamatory.
Unless we're chasing the first overall pick. That's the second part of that's the
Yes.
end on that. I'm just
Yes.
kidding. Listen, how does this affect us? Well, and by the way, we're going to have Hugh Jackson on the show today.
Yes.
Hugh's going to join us at noon. And Hugh says he's got receipts. There are people chiming in on that Twitter exchange that Hugh Jackson was initially a part of who said, hey, okay, that I can prove that this happened.
Yes.
We've got check receipts. We've got other documentation. So we've had Hugh on a few times. He's a straight shooter. Listen, you never know who has an agenda. That's why we'll ask the right questions, and we'll get hopefully the best answers for you and for us. But, aside from that stuff, that's at 12 noon, as I said. Aside from that, directly correlating to Jets and Giants fans, all right? You go to MetLife, the product's been awful, but still, you reach into your pocket, you got to pay for tickets, got to pay for parking, you want to get something to eat, want to have a couple beers, want to tailgate, want to get your son or daughter gear, want to get yourself a sweatshirt, maybe get a program, all the thing, maybe bet a few bucks on the game. They don't have to bet, so you can say, well, maybe that's not a fair not fair to include that because you don't have to bet if you want to go to the game. I got that. But you still have to bet under the pretense of the outcome of the game being believable.
Yes.
Listen, it's tough enough to win. I mean, if you could break even during a football season, you have a lot of action. Maybe you lose 2-3%. You win 3. Now, I know there's years that are different and you win and you lose big. But generally speaking, if you said, Brandon, you can sign up for 20 years of going even for the next couple of decades, I'd say sign me up right now because that ensures, countless Sundays of sweating, a little extra fun on the games. There's money on the game. It's more fun, called for what it is. But you're not going to lose your shirt. And I bet responsibly anyway, so that doesn't apply to me. But for some, they get sucked in.
Yes.
I'd sign up for it right now. But imagine betting and the coach who CBS or Fox or ESPN or NFL Network flashes to, 37 times during a game, that guy is doing things to make us lose.
Right.
Just let that set.
Yeah,
let that resonate for a moment.
Yeah, the hard thing about this allegation is that how do you prove or disprove it? Because unlike apparently with Hugh Jackson, who we'll talk to, he didn't take the money. And so if he didn't take the money, I'm positive this wasn't in writing. Hey,
Coach.
click on the email.
Dear
Hey,
Coach,
dear Coach Flores, lose games.
Indent the first paragraph.
Exactly, $100,000 for each loss. You buying it, right? That's not going to happen. We're not going to have that.
I mean, even some of these old guys aren't that dumb to transmit that.
You're
stuff.
not going to have that kind of communication. So it's just really his word versus his word. That's really all it's going to come down to.
Unless there was somebody else within earshot and it's multiple strength in numbers,
Yeah.
that would be permissible.
Yeah, true.
It would be.
True. But then how do you know that he wasn't just kind of jesting?
That's not up to
jesting.
jesting.
Yeah, we should lose so we can get whoever, not Justin Herbert, who went number one that year.
Well, it's one thing, but think about this, Teak. It's one thing to say in jest, guys, it wouldn't be the worst thing to lose. This kid over at the Oregon or wherever is pretty good. It's another thing to actually provide alleged monetary, motivation.
Yes.
So again, if you say it like flippantly, like, man, wouldn't it be great to have this kid in uniform? Ticket sales will spike next year. He's a stud. Look at this guy.
Yeah.
That's one thing.
That was the Burrow draft, by
That
the
was
way.
the Joe Burrow draft. But imagine the next layer, which is 37,000 miles deep into the darkness of what the NFL never wants exposed, where, hey, coach, I'm going to break you off 100,000 multiple times to lose. That is quite different than saying, man, I'd love this kid to be on our team. Wouldn't be that bad to lose today, coach.
Yeah, agreed.
877-337-6666. All right. So there's a lot of things going on. Obviously, Tiki's story from yesterday was phenomenal. It's gained a ton of traction. And many of you heard it. If you didn't, you have to go check it out on YouTube, on our Twitter account. It's all there as Tiki very passionately defended the Maras and the Giants organization against the racist claims. Not to say that their hiring practices are perfect. That's not where my partner was going. But I find it interesting, and obviously you did as well, for people to parachute in. When I say interesting, I really mean disconcerting. For people to parachute in with no intimate knowledge of the character, whether it's the Giants or anybody else in this world, and they are assassinated or positioned as racists with no evidence. That is dangerous, and that is unacceptable. Let's get Russ, who's in Bethpage, first up on the fan, Tiki and Tierney. Russ.
What's
Hey,
happening,
guys,
Russ?
how we doing?
We're good, man. How are you?
I'm good. Listen, Tierney, first of all, yes, you just hit the nail on the head in terms of from yesterday, right before that call, you said there's nothing worse than being accused of being a racist, and it makes life very difficult. It makes it hard for people to do their job.
Mm-hmm.
So I appreciate you saying that. Tiki, I got to tell you, I'm a longtime Giant fan, and yesterday with that caller, I'd say you hit the nail on the head, and just the way you composed yourself, because that guy was trying to lead you down a road.
Yeah.
And, you spoke about breaking barriers. You getting the midday show is essentially breaking a barrier, right?
Yeah.
You get on there, and he was trying to lead you down a road, and he did everything basically except call you an Uncle Tom directly.
Yeah.
And I could tell by your tone that you really held back what you really wanted to say to the guy. And I appreciate that.
Well, I appreciate you, Russ. I don't get emotional very often. I tell BT knows me for forever now.
Mm-hmm.
I very rarely lose my composure. Like maybe once I did. But
You got mad at me once.
That was an anger.
First, that was your fault, by the way.
It wasn't
It wasn't my fault.
Yeah, it was my fault, but whatever.
And by the way, it was the dumbest thing. It was over some stupid read.
Yeah, it was.
Something so stupid.
Yeah, but I have a lot of
to your point,
I have a
you
lot of
really-
respect for the Maras
Yeah.
and the Tisches, by the way. I mean, both of those owners were really close to me. Different types of close. I mean, I would like hang out with Bob Tisch. We would go to events together and hang out at the Regency, but Wellington was just a different man. You felt in awe in his presence, right? It was just something about him and the way he composed himself and carried himself. And when he spoke to you, you snapped and listened. It was he was amazing, and we lost them both in the same year. Which, coincidentally or not, I know it wasn't coincidentally, was my best season of my career in 2005.
No doubt, Tiki. 877-337-6666. Tiki and Tierney here on Twitter, at Tiki and Tierney. Hoff, Dove? What is Dove is sucking down? What is that, yogurt? He's got Life. Not the generic cereal. He's going for the, he reached in the pocket. Spent a few extra. I like Life. I love cereal, by the way.
I do too.
When you get cereal, right? And now, you're not going to get this with every cereal, and then you just suck down the milk like a dog through a bowl, and there's like the remnants of the sugar that go to the bottom of the bowl. Oh, my God. It's so good, so refreshing, isn't it?
You're taking us back to our youth.
I did it this morning. I had a little Cocoa Pebble. Not much. Kids have a box of Cocoa Pebbles. Of course, Daddy has all the boring stuff, granola, Special K, whatever the hell else is in there. And I had a little. I was just in the mood for chocolate milk, but we really never have chocolate milk. So I'm like, you know what? Cocoa Pebbles and milk. I'll get my chocolate milk in a little bit.
That works.
Hoff, you good, buddy? What's happening? You quiet over there today. You okay?
I'm hanging in there.
Hoff.
Rough night.
Why?
I actually didn't tell you. My middle child had to go to the hospital yesterday. Face planted, got stitches.
How many?
Geez.
8 in his chin.
Really?
That's character, though. He's good.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know. Listen.
He'll have a story.
Oh, the girls will like that when he's older.
No question.
They're going to like that. Now, what part of the chin? Because the hair doesn't grow on scars, so it's going to be
He's got a little dents right in the middle.
That's perfect, dude. That's perfect because now this is your middle
He's
one?
8.
Okay, so whenever
Nicholas,
he starts
yeah.
shaving, you're going to have a little bit of hair, but you're going to be able to visibly see the scar, and that'll be a magnet for the honeys.
Oh, yeah. They're going to love that.
That'll be
People
good.
pay good money for scars, by the way. They do.
I've got scars everywhere. I really do. I do. 877-337-6666. Okay, so I do want to get to this directly, and obviously, I know the phone's already lit, so, whether it's any residue from Tiki's story yesterday, anything with Flores, whatever, even some of the Knicks stuff that I hit at the top of the show, I do want this to be a focal point of at least the first hour and a half or so of the show here. If it's if it's proven that Ross and Haslam did this with the Dolphins and the Browns, respectively, trying to incentivize their coaches to lose, compared to the PED scandal, because the timing's interesting based on what just went down with the Hall of Fame with Bonds and all the other cheaters, Clemens, etc. What would you view worse? What would you view worse? I mean, to me, it's a no-brainer. It would be the football situation, but maybe you guys disagree. Tiki and Tierney up until 2, and then it's Carton and Roberts on the Fan.